These are 4 players that are just getting ignored, and their ADPs are going down in almost every case, and it's time to come in, circle around, talk about it again, but from a different angle. 4 players, 4 fantasy football steals that your friends keep ignoring, and we're going to smash because of it. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now. File on in, pal. Let's smash.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live!
Monday through Friday,
8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Let's smash! I'm doing it, you're doing it, we're all doing it. Look here, we're sitting here at the edge of our seats, looking at something that can win leagues on 4 different levels. Kyren Williams has no business being inside round at, what is this pick? This is 30 overall. 30 overall. That is insane. We have Achane at 24. He's teeter-tottering on that 3.1 overall pick right now. 24, 25. Achane's going to move into round number 3. You could feel it. He's dropping every single day. Kyren is plummeting into the middle of round 3 right now. Derrick Henry has no business being in round 3 or round 4, especially round 4. He's probably the one of the 4 players that has kind of gone up and down, and I've seen him a lot lower than this, Derrick Henry, but he still wins you a league potentially as your 3rd drafted player. I'm not taking him in the 2nd round. My line in the sand is in the 3rd round for Derrick Henry. But how in the hell is Kyren Williams sitting at this unbelievable ADP that wins mother freaking leagues? I don't know. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me how you would let somebody like one of us, me, you, walk in and draft him as your 3rd drafted player, arguably a top 1 to 5 running back as your 3rd drafted player, a top 6 to 7, 4 to 7 running back in Derrick Henry as your 3rd drafted player. Achane on the tipping point of being your 3rd drafted player. And right here, Josh Allen has reached round number 4 at 37 overall. That's a win a league material. Now, of course, we love Josh Allen and we love Jalen Hurts. We love Patrick Mahomes, all below Josh Allen. But how does one quarterback not linger inside the top 3 rounds anymore? It doesn't make any sense. You know why? Because content creator Caleb and this person and that person, they've crunched their numbers and their data. And they say, you can't take a quarterback early. There's too many of them. Let me tell you something. The running back pool is just as deep as the quarterback pool, relatively speaking to history and how it's been, how it's been from year to year. The wide receiver pool is as deep as it's ever been. The tight end pool, I can't remember a tight end pool of players that has been this absolutely, like, from 1 to 20. You could find a tight end that you could argue could be a top 5 guy. Not that he's going to be a lock, but you could argue that tight end 15 could be a top 5 tight end. You could find guys like Luke Musgrave, Dallas Goedert, well outside of the top 10, sometimes top 12. Those guys could be top 5 tight ends. This is not one of those things where you say, oh, take a quarterback late because there's so many of them. That doesn't fly anymore. Not when all 4 positions are loaded this year. Not to mention, I don't even like that argument anyway because it's not an apples to apples argument, as I always say. Like when Bob says, well, I just take a guy like even somebody I like Joe Burrow later. Even somebody I love, Joe Cigar Smoking Burrow. You take Josh Allen in round number 4, and then your competitor comes in and says, Let's just see what wide receivers we can even cook up. In round number 4, competitor Caleb grabs a little T. Higgins. I'm trying not to grab somebody I don't love because I want to make this comparison work, but Christian Kirk is there. ETN, we like ETN. Amari Cooper, George Pickens, T. Higgins. You talk about in round number 4, this is round 4, my Josh Allen and your T. Higgins versus what? You're going to go Joe Burrow shopping later? Where's Joe Burrow going? Joe Burrow's got an ADP of, let's say, 85 overall. I love Joe Burrow. I'm not mad at Joe Burrow. I love Joe Burrow. I'll draft Joe Burrow all day long. Who's sitting there in round number, in the 80s? In the 80s, where you're taking Joe Burrow if you're conservative Caleb. And you've got this stack right here. I've got Josh Allen and Stevenson. I've got Josh Allen and Moss. I've got Josh Allen and Benson, and then I can get Connor if I want. I can get Zamir White and Josh Allen. I can get Jonathan Brooks. I can get Najee. That crushes Josh Allen, and that player crushes this player combo every single time. What in the hell are you all doing? What is everybody doing back there? Let's go wide receiver. You want to compare apples to apples? Exactly. Bring it. J-Mo and Josh Allen absolutely destroy my beloved Joe Burrow and T. Higgins. Don't like T. Higgins? Fine. Put in Pickens. Don't like Pickens? Fine. Put in whatever player you like. You want to throw ETN back in the ring because he's a great player in round 4. We love ETN in round 4. That's a steal. Burrow and ETN's fantastic. But again, you give me any one of those combos that I'm talking about, even a Zamir White, I'll take this every time. I'll take it every single time. What in the hell is everybody doing? What is everyone doing? And at wide receiver, if we must go wide receiver, we've got JMO. We've got JSN. We've got players like, crap. You could go all the way down if you wanted to even like 80 Mitchell types if you had to reach on somebody, but JSN's there for the taking. It doesn't make any sense at all. It doesn't make a single bit of sense at all to pass on these players. What is the ADP world doing? What are drafters doing? This is underdog ADP too. These are paying customers paying $5, $10, $25 a draft. And they're sitting there sleeping on Kyron, sleeping on Achane, sleeping on Derrick Henry, sleeping on Josh Allen, sleeping on Tank Dell while we're at it. I love him in round 4 more than 3. Let's hope he falls a couple picks. Laporta's even good value. Cooper Kupp is climbing into 3. He was so much better in 4. He starts to become a little risky in 3. This is a smash. This is probably Kyron Williams, Josh Allen, soon to be Achane because he's in 2 right now. Kyron Williams and Josh Allen are the best values in all of fantasy football 2024. The best values, plain and simple. This is not a debate anymore. There's no room for argument here. There's no Smitty. No, it's Kyron Williams and Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts. Those are the 3 best values in all of fantasy. The only argument you could have would be Jahmyr Gibbs at 12. Because for some reason, Jahmyr Gibbs is falling to 12. I don't understand that either. But this is a gold mine. Why not in a draft? And you might not be able to get all this in your mom and pop league. Someone's going to draft out of tune. I don't know. But if it's me, draft pick trading season and non-best ball just kicked into high gear for me. Because if I can trade away, here's my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I trade away my 1 pick here. And I go get me a 2 and a 3. So now I've got 2 2s. I've got 2 3s. I've got no 1. Okay? Maybe I get rid of a 10 or whatever. I don't care. I'm going to get rid of my 2 for another 3 4. I'm going to get a 3. I'm going to get a 4. I'm going to get rid of one of my 2s. I might have to give up an 8 to get that done, let's say. I'm going to give up my 2 for another 3 and another 4. So get rid of that puppy. Maybe I have to get rid of my 7 or my 9, whatever. My 9 and my 10, let's say. I do that. I'm looking at, oh shit, why don't we get rid of our 5 and 6 to get another 3? Boom. Let's do that. By this time, no one likes you. No one wants to trade with you. No one's going to trade with you again. But you have literally this insane amount of picks. like, what are we doing back there? What are we doing back there? How in the hell are you pulling this off? Maybe you don't get one of these. Maybe we're getting greedy. Maybe not everybody make that move. You're still in a worst case scenario. You're getting 3 in a 3. You're getting 3 third rounders, 3 fourth rounders. Probably still would have your 5th rounder if you're looking at something like that. Like, this is what you could do. This is what you can do, especially if you start with that 1st rounder and accumulate that second, and that additional 3rd, and then you start knocking them away. You start moving down piece by piece. This is how you win a league. Then you come in here and you say, give me Achane, give me Kyren, give me, let's just take in round 4, let's just take a wide receiver who's going in round 4, right around the 36, 35, 36. So we'll go with let's just say we take Cooper Kupp here because he is going there. Let's say we take Josh Allen, and then let's say we take who's another? We could go. Dell could be this guy. You could walk out of your league in a worst case scenario going Josh Allen, Dell, Achane, Kyren, Cooper Kupp, and probably in this 5th round spot, McBride. This is your worst case scenario. I showed you I had more picks in this. I had another additional pick. I had another player like DK in here because I aggressively made this trade. You could literally stack this kind of team if you want to. We'll be conservative. We'll be very conservative. You can even make this DK if you want. This is the kind of team you can smash into a million little pieces in a good way. Smash your league mates into a million little pieces by draft pick trading and draft pick trading aggressively. It's the way of the non-best ball world. You either are first or you're last, says Ricky Bobby's dad, and he wasn't lying. This is how you become first. This is how you become a champion. Kyren 30 overall, Achane 24, Josh Allen 37, Derrick Henry 31, and we have so many others like Dell. We have so many others, but these are 4 I wanted to identify right here and right now. We got a couple super chats coming in. Justin Rush with a $2 hauler. The Kyren valuation is silly low. It doesn't even make sense, bro. I have to keep creating content on it over and over because it's not moving. Do you trade Kamara for James Conner in Dynasty? That's a tough one. I'd say give me Kamara for 1 more year over Conner. I think Benson's gonna eventually get injected into the lineup, and he won't be removed at some point. You never know with Conner. I think he could have 1 more year, but I'm banking on Kamara having a better shot at least another 30 or 40%, 60% of a really good year potentially. I'm starting to get sold on Kamara Kendre as a combo, but I definitely would cuff the 2 together. Thank you, Hedge, for the $2 hauler. Thank you both for dropping that. Let me get to some of these questions in the chat, and then we'll go to the phone lines. But damn, it's crazy to see this continue to happen. It's crazy to see this over and over and over. What a moon team Smitty just built, says Buffalo. That's what I'm talking about. What else we got here? Thanks, Hedge. Appreciate you. I'm high on Mahomes and Goff. Not super high on Goff. I don't hate him, but I'm super high on Mahomes. His value is crazy in round 4 or 5. It doesn't make sense at all. Nothing makes sense right now. Nothing makes sense whatsoever with this ADP data, but it's good news. I might sound upset, but I'm actually very, very happy for all of us. I'm out here trying to potentially move it, change it. Why, Smitty? Don't move it. Let us, steal it away. But my job is to tell as many people as possible. My job is to get on a mountaintop and scream at the top of my lungs. Drafting Josh Allen at the end of round 2, pairing him with Lamb or Bijan is just stealing. You better not take Josh Allen at the end of round 2. Buffalo, I think I just went through explaining how he's in the 4th round now. I mean, in your grandma league, he might go higher. I'm not saying don't do it, but I mean, I just showed you how you win your league with Josh Allen in round 4, or you could say round 3 to be safe, right? Let's go. Appreciate you, Paul. Running backs and QBs are valued a lot more in redraft leagues and non-best ball. They are. You'll see a lot of quarterbacks go early, sometimes in the 3rd round. So that is true. You gotta play your league the way your league is played. You gotta manipulate the data that you're dealt with. You gotta manipulate the crowd that you're drafting with. Your friends may not sleep on this, not because they're astute, but because they don't know what in the hell they're doing. And so they'll draft Mahomes at 14 overall. And then you're like, it's the reverse of what we're seeing. But I don't know that we're gonna see Kyron Williams, Derrick Henry, or Achane climb in non-best ball. The quarterback part, the piece of this, Josh Allen or Hurts or wherever, that could be different and contingent upon how inexperienced your league is. The more inexperienced they are, the more they draft quarterbacks well. it's kind of a weird thing. The more sharks you draft with, the more experienced the crew, the more brainwashed they are on the quarterback drafting. It's weird. And in best ball, not this last year, but the year prior, early quarterback was a fantastic strategy, according to the data. According to the data, Smitty. That data showed that it was great because it busted last year, because we had massive injuries at QB and we had Dak Prescott, who was that anomaly and outlier. Everybody's back on waiting on quarterback. And there's nothing wrong with waiting on a quarterback. And if quarterback value is as good as everybody keeps screaming, then go a light, watered down bully quarterback. Go with a Jaden Daniels with your Jalen Hurts. There's nothing wrong with that, especially when the value of wide receiver, running back, and tight end is literally to the moon. The depth of the positions has never been deeper. You can absolutely go with a Leggett or a Dotson or a Christian Watson instead of maybe going a little bit safer wide receiver and take that extra quarterback and just smash the hell out of the quarterback position. The quarterback position is going to win leagues in best ball and non-best ball this year. The field is shorter. There will be less punting this year. The ball is going to be in the quarterback's hands more than ever, according to the new kickoff rules. I think quarterbacks are going to be the good ones, the elite ones, the top 5 ones are going to be more important than ever. And we might see a crazy number of high-scoring quarterback seasons that we've never seen before because of the new kickoff rules. No one's talking about that. I'm talking about it. We're talking about it. And Josh Allen at round 4 is ridiculous take a lap behavior by the entire fantasy football community.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Dial in to the show. Phone lines are open. Looks like we got somebody said they had a Saturn, or we had a Saturn man. Is that Terry Roberts? Is that one of the first Saturn emojis we've seen? Terry Roberts, does he have a Saturn emoji? Unbelievable. It looks like we're going to have a bunch of... there we go. Space Ricky's got the Saturn emoji as well. Congrats on the 2 years of being a YouTube exclusive member to both of you. To anybody that has one.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Appreciate you all. Dial into the phone lines. 407 caller. Turn the background noise down if you could, 407. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Alex. I'm calling from Jacksonville.
Alex from Jacksonville. What is up, my guy?
All right, I got a question for you, man. So I'm drafting from a 10-team PPR, right? And I'm drafting at the 6th position. Now, I got a little bit of a dilemma. Now, if the top 5 positions, if they take Bijan and Brees, the dilemma that I'm coming from, I'm leaning towards taking Jahmyr Gibbs over Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and JJ. Would you rock with that? And in the second round at 15, take MHJ?
do running backs have more value? Do they fly off the board differently? Like, explain to me your league real quick.
I mean, it's pretty standard. It's PPR. Like I said, it's 10-team PPR. I just have a feeling that they're gonna ride with the RB train here and take Brees and Bijan.
So let me ask you a question. Let me just write, because I'm going to show you my favorite team right now that I've been drafting over and over. Okay. You tell me what you feel. Jamar Chase, Achane, and Kyron.
With that,
how possible?
I feel like I would be able. Go ahead.
How possible is that in your league? It's a 10-man league, so it's even more likely you're going to land this. But it depends on your pick is in the middle of the draft. I think it's possible because Kyron's going around 30. It's 100% chance that I'd be able to get Chase and you had Achane before Kyron. Whichever one.
I doubt that.
Whichever one you think.
Third.
Okay. Do you think Achane falls to the third more likely in your draft? Because some leagues are like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we go.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so if we go Kyron and Chase, and then we take a shot at an Achane, and worst case scenario, bro, you go Hurts or Josh Allen in that Achane spot. So Chase, Kyron, and Achane, is that better than? And I love Gibbs. I'm not trying to talk you out of Gibbs, but what wide receiver are you getting if this happens? The reason I ask is because this second round, it's not a dead zone for wide receiver, but it is certainly a weird, like we're borrowing from the third round wide receivers territory. If MHJ falls to you, which he sometimes does and sometimes doesn't, I think maybe in a non-best ball 10 team he will. This is a pretty comparable crew right here. MHJ and Gibbs, Chase and Kyron. I like both of them. At the end of the day, this third rounder is kind of.
Now, which one? Now, if you had to pick between the two, which one would you go for? If you know.
I love them both, bro. I don't think you can really.
You got it. Gun to your head. You got to pick. Because I'm leaning towards Gibbs.
If you promise you're cuffing Kyron a round earlier than you need to, then I'm taking Chase Kyron. But I love this. If this was Dynasty, I would obviously go Gibbs and MHJ. This is a tough call. This is a flip a coin. They're both amazing. I'm grabbing both of these combos in side by side leagues. You know what I mean? But I will tell you that this Chase Kyron Achane combo I love a lot. But if you miss out on Achane, just take Josh Allen or Hurts or whatever. There's nothing wrong with having that balance there at all whatsoever. And in this league, you'll get Kupp and Dell. On top of that, you'll get Henry and Dell, Henry and DK and Kupp, whatever. You can't go wrong on this, bro. The only thing you could say is that, like, as much as we love MHJ and we think he's going to do what we think he's going to do, he is still a rookie, and there's a little bit more of I would say a risk level. Doesn't mean that the upside isn't maybe even greater than this other combo. Chase comes with a little injury risk. Kyron comes with some injury risk. Gibbs, I don't think we can say anything injury related with him. I know some people would want to say he could be because he's not as big as everybody.
And with that, Smitty, that's why I tend to lean toward the Gibbs MHJ. Is there's less injury factor as far as Gibbs compared to Achane / Kyron.
Yeah, you can't go wrong, bro.
Go ahead,
You can't go wrong, to be honest with you. I'll even put a poll up real quick.
So it's a flip of a coin.
Well, let's put a poll up. Which side? Okay, we need to start doing this. If people drop a $20 holler, I'll put a poll up. I'm not saying you need to. I'm just gonna. Okay, so Gibbs and MHJ. Or Kyron
versus Chase and Kyron / Achane.
Well, the Achane can be on both teams, so I don't want to influence the vote. Create poll.
Okay.
Hold on. Here's the link for everybody to go vote. Everybody vote on this one right here. Boom. I'm gonna put. I'm back and forth. Like even right now, I'm hovering over it, and I'm like, damn. I'm gonna go Chase Kyron because that's what I said. But it's super close. So let me put this on screen, bro, and you can tell me. We can see what the audience thinks. Let's leave it up to the audience. I'm not saying
it's tight. It's tight.
I'm not saying you have to
tight.
go with what the audience says, but I think this will be a really good.
My gut is telling me Gibbs MHJ, but I honestly really can't go wrong.
Here's the question that no one else is asking. You know, here's the thing. This is what would have me going with my plan. I know everybody's gonna have their own ideas as to this, because we're asking a very like blatant question, but are we asking the right question? Is there a chance that MHJ doesn't make it to your pick? I think there is, because he's going in
yeah, I mean, there's a chance, but I think I'd say it's about 80-20 that he does.
Okay,
but I'm drafting, I think he does.
But in the case of Jamar Chase, there's 0% chance, in my opinion, that Kyren and Achane will both be gone. You can't lose that other one. You could lose on the Gibbs one a little easier if you're sitting there forced to go with a different receiver you weren't planning on going. That's the only thing I'd say. It's because you're drafting at the 6th spot, right? So you're drafting at, what is the overall pick on that on a 10-man league? That's you're talking about drafting around 15, 16, or what is it? You're drafting at 6, or
in round two, I'll be drafting at 15.
15, yeah. So you pick. Okay, so 15. I mean, his ADP is right at 14, 15 overall, probably in non-best ball. That's a tough one, bro.
So with that same sentiment is, if I don't take Gibbs at 6, let's say I go Chase, there's a high likelihood that Gibbs won't be there at 15, so I would not be able to get Gibbs.
Yeah, I know that, but there's still a higher likelihood, in my opinion, than you think, that MHJ is not going to be there. So this vote is like almost, I think we're assuming that MHJ's there. We know you're getting Kyren or Achane. So chasing Kyren or chasing Achane is a safer approach for me. And then you take the other one, and if Kyren falls, you take Kyren and you try and see if Achane will fall and get all three. I try and get Achane no matter what in round 3 in either strategy. But I just don't know that you're locked in. Right, when's your draft, bro?
It's in about 60 days. It's in August.
Yeah, so you don't think MHJ is going to climb in value? I think you're gonna. I think you're gonna answer. I think this question.
Of course.
I think this question is gonna be answered for you just by waiting. I think you're gonna realize MHJ at 15 isn't that likely. We'll see.
But what the thing that I have struggled with is, I don't believe in Chase as much as I believe in Gibbs. I believe Gibbs can finish number 1 overall in running backs. I don't think agree. Chase. There's a chance Chase can finish behind top 8 in receivers. There's a real chance. You know, and I understand I took Chase last year, and obviously he burned me, and so that probably has something to do with it. But it's tough. I believe in Gibbs more than I do in Chase. You know. Well,
you got to trust your gut, bro, because you're the one that's got to live with it. But the vote the vote is Chase Kyren by 14-11. Vote, guys. I dropped it.
Wow, that's crazy. Because MHJ could easily finish top 5 in receivers. I mean, easily.
Yeah.
And I'm drafting in ESPN. Right now, MHJ is the number 22 overall ADP.
Yeah.
So and I'm drafting at 15.
Oh.
So to say that he climbs that high, that where I wouldn't be able to get him, I mean, it's possible. I'm not saying it's not, but I would much rather have Gibbs and MHJ over Chase and
trust your gut, bro.
Even with the cuff.
Trust your gut. The audience says 16-11 against you. Audience is 16-11 against you, but you can't go wrong. Either way is great. All right, later, bro. Call back if you got another one.
I'll ride with it.
All right, call back.
All right, bro. Keep busting it open.
All right. I mean, look, he said on it. He said on it. He's calling in. He called in only, and this is okay. I'm not mad at this type of this type of call. But he's calling in hoping that I agree with him, and if I don't, he's still doing it. He was just hoping that I'd give him some sense of validation. But he certainly was not willing to listen to the argument. But that's okay. I love both these. There's no going wrong here. You know, the only thing I would say is that Chase could be number 1 overall, for wide receivers, just like his argument that Gibbs could. And I agree with both of those sentiments. I think Gibbs could be the number 1 running back in the entire National Football League. Absolutely. But so could Chase be for wide receivers. And I also believe, and he might not, that Kyren could be the number 1 overall running back in fantasy football, especially if you cuff him to Blake Corum. So Corum and Kyren together is the best cuff in fantasy. It's the safest top 5 running back in fantasy football, period. And so for me, but Kyren's in round number 3 on best ball. So just to make sure everybody's aware, Kyren's going in round 3 at 30 overall. So his question, I mean, if you really look at it, he might be able to get Kyren in the 3rd round in both of these scenarios anyway. We don't really know in a 10-man league especially. But we'll have to see. And you got to play that game safely in your league. I'll take Kyren in round 2 if I think I'm going to lose him by letting him slip to round number 3. But this is a good question. So nice work with that topic. And any $20 hauler, I'll put a poll up for you guys. So dial in to the phone line and drop a $20 question if you want to pull. Blackbeard just landed on Saturn, a rare breed indeed. So far we have 3 living on Saturn: Axe, Terry Roberts, and Blackbeard. Congrats. That's awesome. For anybody that doesn't know what Superfish is talking about, thank you for the super chat. If you've been a YouTube exclusive member for 2 years, your Mars image icon that's next to your name turns into a Saturn. So that's awesome. Kenny's membership, I guess, lapsed. He didn't know. I think it continues on. So you just became a member, and as you can see, you still have a Mars icon next to you. The same thing happened to Travis Rowe, and he didn't lose his status. So you just keep adding on to it. So I think there might be a time frame, or maybe it just continues to add on. I don't know. Phone lines are open. Dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
More Jaden Daniels information out there today. God, just everybody talking this kid up now. Everybody and their mother wants to climb on this wagon now. And let me say it again. Let me say it again for those of you that have a problem with it. Jaden Daniels will be better than Lamar Jackson. Oh, that's so funny. I can't believe he said that. Go ahead and put your receipt out there. Laugh at it all you want. You Caleb. What's going on, Travis? You're live.
To the JD5 thing, I see a lot of people saying, oh, he's going to get sacked a lot. He holds on to the ball. You know, he's not a good pocket passer. Well, like you talk about with Kingsbury, they're going to be running a ton of plays, and they get the ball out quick. Like, look back at how Arizona ran their offense with them. You know, people crap on Kingsbury, but they had a good offense there. I think Kingsbury kind of, I don't know, if it kind of just wasn't the right time with how Tyler was, maturity-wise and stuff, but they had a good offense. And like you talk about, they were, weren't they like 10-1 or something, like before everything fell apart, or 8-1 or...
Yeah, they were. I think they were 10-0 or 9-0. I forget what it was.
Something like that.
But they were the last undefeated team in the league, and they were considered the very best team in the league at that stage, halfway through the season. And you know, maybe some rival fan bases or some cloudy minds might say no, they weren't. They were the best team in football. Kingsbury had the best football team in the National Football League for right at to half of a year. And then injuries happened, and you know, started going downhill from there. But look, this is the same thing with Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan is an amazing offensive coordinator, great scheme guy, makes horrible head coaching decisions left and right. But his offensive coordinating makes him look better than he is as a sum total head coach. And people are like, well, how does he get to an NFC championship, Smitty? How does he get to a Super Bowl, Smitty? Because he's a great offensive coordinator. I just said that. I don't know why I got to repeat myself over and over to people. But Kingsbury might be the same way. I'm not saying Shanahan can't eventually, become a great head coach, if he gets over the hump. But he's very stubborn. He won't hire big names because he's got too big of a head. He wouldn't bring Tom Brady in as quarterback when Tom Brady was begging to come in and win a Super Bowl, and he goes to Tampa, wins the Super Bowl. Tom Brady wanted to come to San Francisco after that, and Shanahan wouldn't do it. Vrabel potentially was being talked about as a defensive coordinator for the Niners. He doesn't want that because he's got too big of an ego, and he's so stubborn. He doesn't want any great minds there to overshadow him. He didn't want Vrabel. There's a lot of people that said within the NFL, and it's a very weird statement, but it's said by multiple people, that Vrabel was so manly. He was such a man's man, just a big dude, intimidating person, just a monster, that when he would interview, people interviewing him, teams interviewing him were like, I don't know, man, he's too intimidating, which was a weird, like I would be, if I'm an owner, I want my coach to look as intimidating as possible. So it was weird. It was weird reaction by people, but just slingshotting that over to Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan, the last thing in the world he wants is an intimidating person on the sideline that if things are going bad, that the fan base is saying, move him into the head coach position. Shanny wouldn't go near that. And so, like, Kingsbury is the same way to me. Right now, he's not maybe made to be a head coach, and that's okay. And he's going to do an amazing job. He's not asked to be a head coach. Zach Robinson may not be a great head coach yet. That's why he's offensive coordinator in Atlanta, and he's going to be an amazing offensive coordinator. And as I've said on the show for months and months and months, and will continue to, and the whole world is starting to jump on talking about, that the new formula, as we said, where's my coaching? I have a coaching board that we pulled up all the time when this thing was like not even filled out at all yet. And remember this? It looks very familiar, doesn't it? We were looking at it saying that this formula, this new formula, is a success formula, an absolute win-a-league formula. Ben Johnson, Detroit Lions offensive coordinator, and he's like a second head coach. Sirianni and Shane Steichen before he went to Indianapolis. You have almost two head coaches. You've got Raheem Morris, who might win Coach of the Year this year, who has Zach Robinson, and you've got Dan Quinn, who has Adam Peters as GM. But he's got Kingsbury as his offensive coordinator. It's across the board. The whole league's doing it now. The whole league's doing it. You've got D'Amico Ryans, and then you got Stoic over in Houston. It's the formula. It's the formula where your OC is so good, you probably can't keep him more than 1 year anymore because they're going to get a head coaching job, which kind of sucks. But it's the formula. And so Kingsbury's a part of this magnificent formula, this tripod of a staff here that has Adam Peters, magician, at the top of it. Dan Quinn's perfect for that role, just like Sirianni with the right OC, and I believe Kellen Moore is this year. The perfect formula. Raheem Morris, perfect head coach with the secondary head coach in the offensive coordinator, and Zach Robinson, who did what he did in LAR last year for the Rams, making Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, Kyron catching balls. All of that happened as the QB coordinator coming over in Atlanta. This is par for the course. The old ways. This is why I don't love the Harbaugh situation. This is why I don't like Sean Payton. This is why I don't know if I would believe in Bill Belichick even coming back. This one-man band stuff, especially if they're older coaches, I don't know if it jives with the NFL anymore. I don't know that it's the old way. I would listen to the words coming out of my mouth, all the haters of these situations. Raheem Morris or Dan Quinn, he sucked in Dallas. How can he be a head coach? I would rather have this crew over Harbaugh. I would rather have this crew over Harbaugh every single time. I don't care what anybody says. What else you got?
I agree. With that said, and then with like the recent comment from Eckler saying like he doesn't want to be a 300 touch guy anymore, and I know that doesn't mean he wants to be like a small role on a team, but do you think Brian Robinson maybe has a chance to be a little bit better than people are giving him credit for? Because I mean, you know he can score it. He's a big enough back, and he showed a few different times he can catch the ball pretty well out of the backfield. And like, I'm just starting to think with this offense, you know, the way it is, and if now we kind of get the feeling that Eckler, he's not going to be just a third down back, but he's not going to be a bell cow of any sort. He's probably not even going to be what he was when he was, you know, at the peak of his talents in San Diego. I think there's going to be a lot of chances for B-Rob in that offense.
Yeah, this again comes down to like what other players are around his ADP and what has me maybe drafting him or not drafting him. But I'm very much admittedly changing my tune a little bit on Brian Robinson and Eckler as a very, very productive kind of cool stack to get your hands on this year. But again, it comes down to, so if we look at underdog ADP, we look for Brian Robinson. It looks like he's going around pick number, God, where's he at?
I got 110.
110. Okay, let me scroll. Okay, 110. So right below that, you have Blake Corum, Eckler, Elliott, Jerome Ford.
Yes, Tyjae Spears is right below him.
Benson right above him. I mean, so it depends. Like if one of those guys is lingering
he's
there,
in that group.
But that's perfect. That's a good spot for him. I'll probably go Ford over him. I'd probably go Chase Brown and where's Zach Moss at? Zach Moss is at 91, so he's a little bit above him. He's about 10, 11, about 20, 18 to 20 picks above him. That's crazy because Zach Moss was in the 120s. He's climbed a lot. Wow. Damn it. That sucks. But he's still a good value.
Actually, yeah, it's funny because
he climbed.
Kind of Najee and Warren, Moss and Brown, Connor and Benson, and now Eckler and B-Rob. They're all they're interesting guys to kind of pair together, but you have to get them within a few rounds of each other if you build it that way.
Yeah. Kenny Powers dropped a $2 super chat. Appreciate you, Kenny. He's also saying that let's see. He's saying join the Patreon. If you guys join the Patreon league, here's the link. I'm gonna pin that link in the live chat. Join my Patreon. Boom. There's the link. Let me pin it. The first 200 people to join, and we're over 100, but I don't think we're right near even the 150 mark yet, but it'll happen quickly. So the first 200 people to join the Patreon will get into this 242-man league, and it'll be 11 teams or 11 leagues of 22 people. So 22 picks in each round. It'll be best ball. It'll be very simple best ball. It'll be 1 QB, 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, 1 tight end, and 4 bench spots of whatever position you want to accumulate. Obviously, quarterbacks, since there's only 32 quarterbacks starting in the NFL, and there's 22 picks in each round, it might be treated like a triple time super flex like type of thing. So if you have pick 22, you'll have back-to-back picks, which is good. You might have 2 monster non-QB players sitting there for you. And then you could draft you could even go like Taysom Hill as your quarterback or something crazy if you wanted to do that. Or you could draft, you might see people grabbing, Goff as their first pick. And then you're like, I don't like his team, but he did get a quarterback. Like, it's going to be a very tough strategy. The winners of each of the 11 leagues is best ball. There's no ad drops, no trades, no nothing. You draft once and it's done. You don't get to touch anything for the rest of the year. $10 per month to get into the Patreon. You get a spot if you're one of the first 200 to sign up. You get lockdown content. I have something dropping tonight. I was going to do it last night. I'm sorry. And then you get 10 live chats, which is basically like we replaced our Discord. Discord's gone. It's a toxic environment. I really did hate Discord, to be honest with you. It's. I think people are getting tired of it too. And so this is a much more chat-friendly environment anyway, and it's got tons of people on there, and the more we grow, the more quick responses you're gonna ask a question, you're gonna have 5 people replying it instantly. It's a live chat environment with 10 different chats. Join the Patreon, do it live, and get into one of these leagues, and the winners of each of the 11 leagues will go into a dynasty league that I'm going to create and draft live on the channel, as well as draft all those 11 leagues on the channel on a Saturday. We're going to do marathon drafting for all of it. So join the Patreon. The only caveat is that if you leave the Patreon at any point during the year or during this time frame that we're doing all this, you won't qualify for the Dynasty League if you win, but you won't get kicked out of of the 242-man league. If you like, let's say you did the Patreon for 3 months and you left, you'll still be able to stay in that league. But if you win it and you're gonna advance to the Dynasty League, you wouldn't if you weren't active Patreon member. Which, it's all about the Patreon. So thank you, Kenny, for reminding everybody and dropping the super chat. Kevin says, hope the Commanders run 2 back sets. It'll be interesting to see what they do. I mean, they're certainly going to put Eckler, I think, in a position to receive the football a lot. So I think you will see him on the field. The only thing I'll say is that there are so many receiving options there. If they add Brandon Ayuk, which is still a possibility, in my opinion, then I don't know what we're looking at. There's such a deep wide receiver room. But even without that, you've got Luke McCaffrey kind of playing running back and wide receiver. And that was the other thing I was going to say is that could add a dynamic that makes the running back hard to predict in Washington. From a football perspective, from a Washington Commander perspective, from a JD5 perspective, from a success in that organization perspective, it's great to have like 3 options of Luke McCaffrey trying to learn the position. He's taken a lot of handoffs in practice. They want to use him. Remember, Adam Peters came from San Francisco. And you wonder how much of that thinking, even though he's not the creator of the wide back position, he's the one assembling the talent for Mike McDaniel back in San Francisco before he went to become head coach in Miami to help architect that position. And he's done that with Achane. Achane's now Mike McDaniel's new Deebo Samuel. But you're looking at this guy, Luke McCaffrey, brother of Christian McCaffrey. Adam Peters is the assistant GM in San Francisco for years, responsible for Kittle and all the amazing late draft picks that Adam Peters cooked up. He handpicks Luke McCaffrey now. So, I think they've got big plans for him. So, I like Brian Robinson to answer this question long-winded, and I went on 5 different tangents, but I think at the end of the day, it comes down to, at that pick, do I think he could be a value? Yes. You said 110. At 110 wide receiver wise, we're talking about, a guy like A.D. Mitchell, Jahan Dotson, Leggett, Ricky Parasol. And I just find myself taking maybe one stab at Brian Robinson and trying to cuff him to Eckler and then hoping in best ball that works out. But in a non-best ball, I don't know if I'm going necessarily near him, but I don't think he's a bust.
Yeah, I think he's probably one of those better options if you go hero RB, and then you're building a team down, because he's a guy who probably in redrafts and stuff might fall down a little bit into drafts where you build out your quarterbacks and your wide receivers and all that, and then you're looking for that second or third running back, and he's kind of in that group there. So, but just in terms of football, just pure football, not even fantasy, I think there's gonna be a lot of opportunity for him. He's kind of growing on me, in other words.
Yeah. What else we got here? What somebody's saying right here? What is this comment from Knights? John, do you know Najee was playing with a steel plate in his foot for how long? He had a shoe with a steel plate in his shoe, not in his foot.
Yep.
Knights, I don't know what you're trying. I don't know what you're trying to do there to Najee's value there. Trying to kick Najee in the nutsack, and he's not here to defend himself. Knights.
He's trying to stick up for Najee.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah, he's calling him a steal.
Oh, okay.
At his ADP, and the one thing I'll say about Najee,
wrong info though.
I think he's good at catching the ball, and he can do everything pretty well, but he's not explosive. And if you look at his whole career, I don't even know, what does he have, 1 or 2 rushes over 30 yards or 35 yards in his whole career? So he's not going to hit the home run for you, but he can do everything well.
I think he did better with that last year, though. I think the numbers were he had a couple. I want to say I don't have it in front of me, but I think he actually did start to break off longer runs. I'll try and find that data, but. Najee's got a good value. He's coming in at a good weight. He's coming in healthy. Arthur Smith worries the hell out of me. I feel like we're almost imbeciles for even looking in this direction and being like, well, maybe it'll work out. We just went through one of the worst experiences fantasy football-wise we've ever gone through with Arthur Smith. Our only saving grace is that he's not a head coach. He's not, probably even given full authority to do anything really. He's probably barely has an iPad. Probably doesn't even have a covered parking spot. Probably has no window in his office if he even has an office at all. He's probably got one of those like shared community spaces. Like I'm hoping that's the way I at least envision it. I also feel like Sullivan, who was the mastermind of the development of the passing attack at the end of the year, when it started to have some success, and you saw Mason Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer, look pretty good. It was Sullivan, and they promoted Sullivan this offseason, not into offensive coordinator, surprisingly. I don't know why they didn't, to be honest, but they promoted him. And I can't imagine, if you're promoting him, you're trying to keep him. He was successful, that he doesn't have the keys to the passing attack in some capacity. So that is guesswork on my part. I can't get any sort of confirmation. Nobody's going to just tell us what exactly is going on. But I'm hopeful, very hopeful, that at least the passing attack is not in the control of Arthur Smith. It's just the running attack. And to get him in the door, they had to give him title of offensive coordinator so he could try and climb into another head coaching job next year. That's kind of my guess, but I don't fully know. But if he is still in charge of the rushing attack, it's a very fearful feeling, But I think if you cuff Najee and Warren together in best ball, it works out really well. And if you just take Najee at 80-something overall, 70-something overall, it's such a low risk entry point, that it's not really that scary. So, we'll see. Anyway. Dial into the phone line, guys. Dial into the phone line. Paul says, can we get Scott back on the phone? He's scared probably at the moment to get on the phone line, my guy.
I had a question kind of regarding, the beginning of the draft and stuff. We're talking about Gibbs and Achane, and why is it that Gibbs and Achane are, a full round, basically, sometimes pushing around and a half apart? Why do people value Gibbs so much higher than Achane? Like, I have him ranked higher than him, like if I was to make ranks and stuff like that, and I like him slightly better. But both of them had injuries last year. Both of them have competition with other backs on the team. Both are expected to be big parts of their offenses that score a lot of points. Like, both are, slightly undersized, but, we don't really care about that much. They both catch passes. Like, there's a lot of similarities. So is it just that we think, that you think Gibbs is, just a little bit better, or what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, my thinking, right? My thinking is like I take Gibbs over him because I think Gibbs could be the number one overall running back this year. I'm not saying he will, because you got Kyron, you got Bijan, you got CMC, there's 5 number one overall running backs in this top 5 this year. It's crazy. Achane is like 5'6". I think Achane is the kind of guy that's going to get you to that number 4 level. Shockingly, people will be like, he finishes running back 4, like ETN. Like, ETN was never going to be running back 1, right? But he finishes like 4. And I think that's what Achane brings to the table. He's like the top 5 running back capability, right? But is he running back 1 overall capable? Probably not. Not as likely. Is Gibbs capable of being running back 1 overall? Yes. Is Achane capable of outscoring Gibbs if they're both healthy? Yes. Achane is. Like, Gibbs could fall. His floor is like if he's fully healthy, plays a whole year, I bet you his floor is like top 6 running back, top 7 running back, is absolute floor.
Yep.
But I think, Achane's ceiling is higher than his floor. So, like, there's some overlap. But at the end of the day, we did early, like, rankings and drafting. And we had Achane at like the 2-3 or the 1-2 turn at one point, when we were coming right into the like January, February time frame, where we did like, I think, a open mock draft just in the chat, and it was like Achane was a first rounder, or he was going where MHJ's going, like 12, 13, whatever. So he wasn't that far off. The question is, do we think that? No, I don't think anyone here that's an Achane believer believes that Achane, this is why I did this show, Achane does not belong in round 2 at all. I'm sorry, round 3 at all. He really almost doesn't belong in round 2. He belongs at that 12-13 turn, but he's going at 24, borderline 3.1, and it's because of the fear outside of this show. It's the industry telling you that he's too small. It's the industry afraid to death that they didn't see him coming. Gibbs was easy to see coming, right? People backed out on him, traded him away, gave up on him, sure. But he was very much a highly touted, popular pick, and so there isn't a hate club that's dedicated to proving their regret correctly. The amount of people that just missed the boat on Achane or wrote him off kind of like, as if he would, this is just a blip on the radar, he'll never be anything. They doubled down and were wrong and we're wrong and we're wrong and we're continuing to be wrong. They kept digging a hole. That group is so big that it's going to drag Achane down because they're rooting for his demise. If Achane doesn't fall apart and fail, there's such a big, large community of people in the fantasy football space that are going to look like morons because they continue to double down on yesterday's regret. And they can't just walk out of the room, close the door, slap themselves in the face a couple times, and then open the door, walk in, and reevaluate it fresh. They're hanging on to their stupid tweets and all their dumb receipts that they've thrown out there. And instead of adjusting and adapting, which is what I try to train you all to do so much at every turn, adjust and adapt. Last year when Kenneth Walker was one of my favorite players and he was a top 5 running back through 1 month of play, Kenneth Walker was doing his job. This moon man extraordinaire was a top 5 running back. We called it. We did that. But I came in week 4 and 5 and I said, tough conversation to have here. Time to trade him away. Because that's adjust and adapt. And everybody that's down on Achane at 24 overall, 25 overall, you don't even understand what's happening. You're like the frog in boiling water that I said yesterday. Throw a frog in boiling water, he jumps out. But you all are in lukewarm water on the oven, in a bucket. It's lukewarm. You're not jumping out. Someone turned the oven on. Achane fell from 12 to 14 to 15, now to 24, and no one's noticing they're boiling to death. No one's realizing that the valuation, the risk level, the cost of everything has changed. Achane at 24 wins you a league. Achane at 24 missing 4 or 5 games still could win you a league. Not only can he get his value back at 24 overall, missing 4 or 5 games, he could still win you a league missing 4 or 5 games. All of the risk is 100% baked into this situation. It's unbelievable. So to answer your question long-winded, Travis, it is a mistake. It is an overlooking of Achane's value, but we did not do that. We do not do that. We're merely taking advantage of it. We had him coming into February, March, around 12 or 13 overall, which was respectable to Gibbs, respectable to Hall, respectable to Bijan. It was putting him in a very safe place. There is a little bit more injury concern maybe because of his size, but he came in jacked up. If anything, this guy should be at 12 or 13 overall right now because he came in 10 pounds heavier. But everyone wants to run away. Keep running away, you scared Scotties. We're here to scoop up the pieces and win leagues. And this show is maybe one of the more important shows that we've done because Achane at number 24 breaching 3.1 and Kyron at 30 overall in the 3rd round now, in the middle of the 3rd round, on his way, 6 picks away from exiting round 3 and going to round 4. Derrick Henry climbing, but I still love the value, and Josh Allen now in round 4. There are no better players but Gibbs at 12, Hurts a little later. You could call out a couple others. These are some of the best values in all of fantasy football 2024.
So basically with the Achane stuff, it's just, like you talk about the psychological side of it. They just get stuck with with all that stuff you just described, and
it's regret.
Let go of it.
It's regret, bro. It's regret. The Achane. If I had, we're gonna do a lot more psychology in here. I would love for somebody to call in that's an Achane doubter, kick your feet up on my couch, and let me psychoanalyze you. Let me bring you back. Let me give you some Achane therapy and get you back on the horse, buddy, because you're living in regret. You're scared that you're bad. You're scared that you suck. That's what it is. If you hate Achane right now at 24 overall, you sucked last year, or you missed the boat, and you're so upset about it. You're so upset about it that you're saying to yourself, explain it to me. Make it make sense to me. Otherwise, I'm lost in this world where I don't know if I know up from down or right from left or day from night. I'm so confused. I didn't see this coming. He has to fail. Let me see some evidence that I didn't miss out on being glorious, that I don't suck at trying to evaluate talent. That's a true fantasy football mind, a good fantasy football owner, an adjust and adapt specialist will say, I missed it, or I caught on a little late, but I jumped on board. Whatever. The people that are still clinging to the Achane's not going to be good are looking for justification that as to why they were oblivious in appearing to be somebody that didn't know talent when they saw it. That's what they're doing. Living in regret. Josh from Cali, are you living in regret, pal?
No, man, I told you. I picked up all the shares of Achane as soon as you were hot. I traded away London. You don't like my trade, but I'm going with it. I would trade away Drake London today for another share of Achane if I could. I did it once, I'd do it again.
Attaboy.
Love
I don't remember that kind of stuff, but yeah. What do you think about Kyron going down to 30 overall, bro?
I think that's beautiful. I remember talking to you a couple months ago, or maybe a month and a half ago, and you told me Kyron would slip to 18 overall, and that was it. And we are where we are today, and I love that. I love it so much. I'm grabbing them in every draft I have. I either have Achane or I'm getting Kyron because value's crazy. Value's nuts.
Yeah.
I'll tell you where I am torn, though. I'm torn. That's why I'm calling in. I'm torn between who I'm taking between Worthy or a Doomsday. And I know you probably like a Doomsday, but Worthy's up on five spots ahead of him. ADP, underdog. What do you think?
Worthy or Doomsday? Is this best ball? You're talking about best ball redraft?
Best ball. Yeah, best ball.
I mean, these guys are in similar situations, man. They're in crowded wide receiver rooms. Okay, so you got to check on both of those. You've got potentially going to be late bloomers. You got to check on that. They're just safer players around them because they're going to contribute right away at a full capacity instead of waiting. They're very similar. At the end of the day, I mean, I would say Doomsday is just the better talent. And even though Mahomes is by far and away the better quarterback in this situation, this is a crowded wide receiver room. And we've seen too many times now a Mecole Hardman situation we think is going to be great. Kadarius Toney, we think it's going to be great. Casey always feels like it's going to be a great situation for all these, pop-up, I don't know, potential players. Regardless, and it doesn't end up. I like Worthy, but this is by far the superior talent. So I'm going to say a Doomsday. But I'm almost going to say neither one in redrafts, bro. Like, you got probably better options. Name 4 or 5 players. Name 4 or 5 receivers around there. And actually, I'll do it. I'll find it. So a Doomsday's ADP is, you
like
said Worthy's above him.
Keenan Allen.
So Worthy's at 60. I mean,
it's a Lad McConkey. It's a weird little area right there.
It kind of is. I mean, I think BT probably has a better year than both of them from a redraft perspective.
You think so?
Yeah.
You like BT over Cook this year? You still like Cook? Kirk.
Who? What? You're saying 10 things.
Do you like Kirk or do you like BT?
Oh, BT. I don't like. I'm not a big Kirk guy.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, BT's he's a talent, bro. He's a talent. I wasn't sure what I made of his situation at first, but once we got official word that he would not be going into the Ridley role, that Gabe Davis would be taking that stretch the field role, which we kind of thought could be possible, but we wanted to hear it right from the mouth of the staff, and we did. So BT is going to be all over the field. This is a safer pick in redraft. I'm not saying in Dynasty I would take him over a Dunze, but BT is going to be a nice little redraft player. JSN's really good around that area. I even like Christian Watson better than a Dunze and Worthy from redraft. I don't know that you got to take him at the exact same spot. This comes back to that other question where you go Worthy at 60, Christian Watson at 76. That's 16 picks apart, right? So if we go over to 60, what running backs are available at 60? Well, at 60, I can get myself a Najee Harris, a Ramondre Stevenson, a Zamir White, a Kenneth Walker, an Alvin Kamara, potentially even Rashad White or James Cook. So I'm just not going to shop wide receiver at 60 where you're getting Worthy or a Dunze. I'm going to go different position, and then I'm going to scoop up.
Would you climb that high? Would you? I mean, I know you follow ADP, but would you consider 60 Ramondre, Zamir White? Would you consider grabbing those guys at 60?
Absolutely.
20 picks ahead.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. I like that. I love Zamir White.
I mean, it also depends. Like in best ball, you don't need to. But I think in non-best ball, like I've told this story 1,000 times, the wide receivers are so grabbed up in best ball that like the ADP's a little bit.
You got to start 3 of them. You have, the little bit. You have to start 3.
But it's not just that; it's the trend. The trend of all these wide receivers getting drafted early, shoving those running backs down. So in non-best ball, Kenneth Walker 67 ADP is more like 55. Najee Harris 83 ADP is more like 70. In a non-best ball environment. It's these wide receivers. Marvin Harrison Jr., the best way to even explain this is that Marvin Harrison Jr. is thought to be overdrafted right now. I can't take him as at his where he's getting drafted wide receiver wise, but wide receiver 9, MHJ is going as wide receiver 9. That is a steal. That's a monster home run. The only thing is it's such a wide receiver heavy first round that when you get down to that 12-13 turn, that's where wide receiver 9 is. Like there's 3 non-wide receivers going.
I know you like MHJ. I know. You convinced me. I traded away Jamar Chase for MHJ. So I'm sitting right there with you hoping.
All right, bro.
All right, man. Hey, one thing. Achane, yeah. Ha, 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 ha. All right, brother. Okay, man.
Let me.
Achane. Achane is the man. His haters call him small.
But he is 9 feet tall.
Achane is the man.
All right, Travis. Anything else, pal? I'll be back tonight to draft.
Let's see. I think. The last question I had with ADP was Cup. Like I know he's at a good ADP, but then there's also times where you talk about when guys start to pile up red flags, you worry about them. So what is it that makes you not worry so much about him? Because he has the injury thing. He's 30, right? Returning 30, and I think he's the clear wide receiver 2 on that team now.
Yeah, well, Cup was going in the 4th round.
Or?
Well, he's going in the 4th round. Now he's not. So
okay.
as I hit on the beginning of the show, when I saw Cup here, I'm like, it's kind of changing. Its allure is kind of getting lost a little bit. Like he in the round 4 territory is about as low risk as it gets. But now you're seeing Cup go near, Kyron and Laporta, Tank Dell, Josh Allen. I mean, I don't know. I'd probably say he's still right there to where, like, if between Pittman and Kupp, I'm taking Kupp personally. Zay Flowers and Kupp, I'm probably taking Kupp over Zay, but I can understand anybody wanting to take Zay. Dell, I want to take Dell, but I think it's smart business to wait a little bit, see if he'll fall into round 4. So I don't love Kupp's new third-round value. He was in 4, cemented, and I loved it. Now it's changing. Right. Like DK safer up here, Devontae Smith safer up here. Neighbors is out of pocket high. Like, this is just ridiculous. I would never take Neighbors there. Achane's ridiculously low. But, you know, Dell's a concern. I can understand people saying Dell's the third wide receiver. I don't think he is, but I can understand why people say that. But give me, so instead of Kupp, my answer would be this. Instead of Kupp, I'm probably 9 times out of 10 taking Josh Allen. Like, in this spot, like, just as an example. You know, third round pick Josh Allen. Yeah. I know he's going around 4, but like, that's 4.1. You know, that's 4.1. I don't know. I don't know that you're going to get that unless you have the 4.1 and you get lucky that someone doesn't reach high and you're not playing in best ball. You're playing in a non-best ball. He's probably going to go in the top of round 3, not bottom of round 3. So I would, where Kupp is going, take Josh Allen with ease.
And I guess just the last thing I'll say after that is that you were talking about it earlier in terms of if a guy isn't there, you take the quarterback. Looking at the list of quarterbacks, there's in the different places you can get them and deploy different draft strategies. There's no reason that you shouldn't have a good quarterback on your team this year.
Yeah, and there's definitely, you know, like,
some years where people want to wait. You know, they wait and grab guys late, or they don't believe in this guy or that guy. But I think it's pretty stacked. At least the top, 5 to 6.
Yeah. And like, and again, because I love JD5 so much, and he's going at 102, which I'm tired of, or not tired of it. I know people are tired of hearing JD5 content, but like, his ADP fell to 102. I mean, that's a little later than he was going. It depends on the format you're looking at, but I mean, that is a phenomenal strategy. You could say, Smitty, let's not go Josh Allen here. Let's go Derrick Henry or Kyron. I'm on board with that. Like, I'm taking Kyron over Josh Allen every time. But if all these guys fall off the board in a weird way, and I'm looking at Zay Flowers, Pittman, then I am looking at Josh Allen there. And that's where I take my Josh Allen early share. I'm not doing that in every draft. There are a ton of drafts that I want JD5 as my starting quarterback. There are a ton of drafts that I want Jalen Hurts as my starting quarterback. There are a ton of drafts I want Mahomes, Anthony Richardson, Kyler Murray. But Kyler even is like my second quarterback that I take sometimes, especially in best ball, doing a very watered-down bully quarterback approach. There's so many good quarterbacks. I mean, Joe Burrow is ranked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, quarterback 8. And there's good reason to not even have him there. Like, I'm not saying because he's bad. I'm just saying you got Allen, Hurts, Mahomes, Lamar, Anthony Richardson, not in any real particular order, almost ADP order, Stroud, Dak Prescott, and then you got Kyler Murray, Burrow, Jordan Love, JD5. That's 11 quarterbacks. It's so deep, and this is where someone says, oh, then you wait. But it's not that simple. Like, it comes down to, on the clock, it's worth taking Josh Allen if you do not like the surrounding players. If you see Kyron, you don't look in Josh Allen's direction because of what I just spit out. But if you see Pittman and Flowers and guys like that I like, DJ Moore, Diggs, I'm not going near those guys over Josh Allen. And that's the league I draft Josh Allen in. It's so simple. But looking at JD5 in the freaking 100 overall territory, it's so appealing. And look, you could take Josh Allen and still take JD5 at 100, and you're doing yourself no disservice in a non-best ball. It's totally different to take Mahomes and Josh Allen in the 3rd and 4th rounds and think you're controlling the QB trade market in a 1 QB, and you're going to get your rear end handed to you in a realization that you screwed the hell up your entire draft. But taking a Kyler or a JD5 later on top of Josh Allen, you have no pressure to get rid of JD5. Not to mention, you're backing up the most important position with two absolute top 5 potential monsters. So I love you. Just because you took Josh Allen doesn't mean you can't still take Burrow at freaking 90 overall if he falls. That's not doubling down in an irresponsible way. Jordan Love going 96, Jaden Daniels going 102. Kyler Murray sometimes goes later than 80. If he goes 80, maybe you don't take him. You take, because there's the Zamir Whites and the Najees and all those guys there. Anyway.
Yep. All right. Thanks, Smitty. I'll talk to you later.
All right, later.
Bye.
We'll be live later. Dial in if anybody's got any final thoughts. We'll definitely hit it tonight with some drafting. Just real quick, I'm skimming through some of the questions that you guys may or may not have left for this show. Dial in, guys, if you got a question. I'll answer real quick, really quick rapid fire questions. Hit me with it. Do it live. Here we go. We got your hey Smitty, just going through some of the NFL news. The Athletic reports Russell Wilson has been cleared, the clear favorite in camp. Yeah, we've talked about this a lot, Calvin. Look, this is one reporter. You know what I mean? Like you gotta be careful not to take one reporter who maybe has an agenda or a like for Russell Wilson or whatever. But on top of that, we never fully expected. We were hoping that Fields would take the job from Russell Wilson before week 1. But this is one of those things where he could fold in the middle of week number 1, 2, 3, or 4, and then Fields comes right in. But this is old news. Not to mention, I wouldn't worry about it because you weren't expecting Fields to rip the job from week 1. At least you shouldn't have been. He can definitely be a guy that helps win leagues later. I still believe in Fields fully. And there's something to Fields being much better in game than in practice. I'm not saying that that's what you want to hear. Lamar's the same way. Lamar even said he's not a very good practice quarterback, which you never want to hear that. You always want a player to improve upon that. But I think that, maybe you're seeing Russell Wilson such a great student. But when he goes out there to take his test, he's a whole different QB. So there's still very much a chance that Fields gets in there sooner than later. But don't listen to one reporter and get all down about it, because we never really needed Fields to start week 1. In some ways, you don't want Fields to start week 1. In some ways, you want Fields to start later so that Russell Wilson fails completely, because if Fields starts week 1, then Russell Wilson's nipping at his heels, right? Because he hasn't failed yet. Russell Wilson will come in the first moment Fields falters. So you want Russell Wilson to win the job. You want Russell Wilson to go in there and fail. That way Fields has no fear, or he's not regretful or scared or anything. Okay, let's see here. 407. What's it say? You're the only analyst I'm rocking with this year. Keep applying pressures. Thank you, pal. Appreciate you dropping the super chat. Prince to the freaking moon. Justin says, Deontay Johnson's my guy in that area. I don't like Deontay Johnson at all. He's all yours. You take him. He's yours. Do it live. Deontay has been a failure for too long to start believing in him now. Not to mention, it's not like that wide receiver room is all that, it's a crowded room regardless. Even though it doesn't feel like there's a number 1 yet, it's gets the guy. What's up, Sebastian? You're live.
Yeah, I had a quick comment on Justin Fields. I think what a lot of people too aren't realizing is that you're able to get him around like 17, 18, which means he's at a really low ownership percentage. And if he does break out during the middle of the year, that means he's going to smash. Like he's going to hit even harder than he already would have if he was going earlier. just because no one's going to have him on the playing field. And I think that's a factor that not a lot of people are accounting for. And if you're into the risk, I think Justin Fields definitely has the reward ratio for that level of investment for sure.
Yeah, and again, anybody that's saying, "Oh, damn, this isn't going the way we wanted," it's still exactly the way we wanted it. Again, you don't want him going out there and being the week 1 starter, because then the pressure's on him. We want the pressure on Russell Wilson, because you want to be the one that comes in to the game, mid-season or week 4 or week 3. You don't want Fields going in.
Everybody would have him.
Yeah, if Fields goes in there first, then Russell Wilson's in the advantage point. And you don't want that. If you're betting on Fields, you're betting on him taking over. And I truly believe Russell Wilson's that guy that looks really great, practices really great, but then he gets stage fright. That's how Russell Wilson feels. Doesn't matter how good he looks. He's always looked good throwing footballs and little raindrop passes and the skill drills. He's always amazing at that stuff. So practice, shorts, no hitting. It's very simple route running, and you start having, some intense coverage, but in shorts, there's no hitting. Russell Wilson looks good. He's throwing the football. He's just playing catch. He's very, very accurate. He's very good at that, but that does not mean he's going to have success when the whistle blows. So I think that athletic report is scaring to death everybody that thought maybe there was a world where Fields was going to start week 1. We don't want that. I'm telling you, you don't want Fields starting week 1.
Yeah, and then a quick question: Who's the Vegas and Broncos quarterback going to be? Because those have been getting more and more questionable as we're getting closer to the season.
We don't know. I don't think we know. I don't think we will know. And nor if he came out here and said, Sean Payton tomorrow, that he's starting so-and-so, or you can't believe him. He's already said, you can't believe a word that comes out of my mouth in regards to really anything. I'm not going to tell you guys my game plan. So we don't know. And the problem is we won't know. And there's 3 or 4, there's 3 options there now instead of 2, and I don't think it's going to change. It's like, you don't know if Estime's the guy, you don't know if Javante's the guy, you don't know if McLaughlin's the guy. McLaughlin feels like maybe he's the safest guy, but that's it.
Yeah, that Broncos team is just really weird. I mean, they drafted Bo Nix as high as they did. He was a really good prospect, and even then, we don't even know if he's going to start. Just that whole team is question marks.
Anything else, bro?
No, it's been pretty quiet over the last couple of weeks. I mean, hopefully Ayuk or something big happens, but a lot of it's just been dust in the air.
Yeah. All right, bro. Call him tonight. We'll be back.
All right, for sure.
Oh, whoops. I hung up on him. Okay, so anyway, appreciate all the super chats tonight. Thank you, Justin, for dropping your super chat. Deontay, not a fan, but do your thing, bro. Trust your gut. Calvin Krim, thank you for the good conversation about Fields. It's good to bring up, regardless of that it's been talked about before. It's still good conversation. Some people miss that, right? So it's good content. Prince, appreciate you. Kevin, Kenny Powers dropping it like it's hot. Superfish, Hedge, appreciate you. Justin Rush, Justin Rush. Thank you for dropping your super chat at the top, and we got 2 Justin Rushes. Is that the same guy? I got 2 different super chats from 2 different Justin Rushes. That can't be. That's got to be the same guy. You just switched your account or something. You were on a different phone or something had to have changed there. That can't be two different people. That'd be crazy. Thank you anyway for your super chat. If you're 1 person or 2 people, phone lines will be open tonight. We will be drafting tonight, and I'll be back around 12 p.m. Eastern, maybe 12:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you all later.
He's Kyron, he's 7 feet tall, and he knows how to handle a ball. He's Kyron. He can take frowns and turn them upside down with his touchdowns.
Achane Achane is the man. His haters call him small.
But he is 9 feet tall.
Thank you, Tristan, for the 20-month membership celebration. Tristan to the moon. Blackbeard, Saturn man. Thank you, Blackbeard.
Achane is the man. Legend has it if you say Saint Brown 3 times in the dark in the bathroom, you will immediately lose your league. Hi, my name is B. John Robinson. I like long walks on the beach. And, well, I also like scoring
Live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, live whenever big news breaks. I'll be back tonight because we're also not only live at 8 p.m. Eastern every single Monday through Friday. Not only are we live whenever big news breaks, but I'm also live most midnights doing some best ball drafting. We tried a mock draft last night, but it just was not, we were not feeling the vibe. I don't know how much we'll be mock drafting, but we will see. We will see. It's just, it doesn't even feel like there's any skin in the, well, there isn't any skin in the game when you're doing it. I know a lot of people like to do it, but that's like 11 people that get in, you know, whereas the replay value of a bad ADP, horrible pre-rank list, bad mock draft, because of that, it's not useful content for the thousands of replay views just for 11 people. So it's like I'm making a call that it's not wise to do mock drafts anymore. I'm not saying we won't ever do them, but I mean, best ball. Why not just do a league for money? You know, why do something that doesn't have any sort of skin in the game? Strategy, watch strategy on screen for a real money league. So that's kind of where we're at. I'll see you all tonight. Don't forget to join the Patreon. The link is pinned in the live chat. And for Underdog, if you want to get in on the drafts tonight, please hit this link. I'm going to drop it in the live chat right now. Minimum of $10 gets you in. So hit that link. You got to sign up now, though, and be ready. Have the Underdog app downloaded with that link and ready on your phone so that when we go live, and they'll match up to 50% on your first deposit, up to $250. If you do the minimum of $10, they'll give you $5. You do 100, they'll give you 50, etc. But we'll be back to draft and if you don't have that app downloaded and ready to go, and I say, okay, get into this draft right now, in 5 seconds, we're going to click the button, you're going to be like, how am I going to get in? Smitty, I missed the league. So do it now. Click it. Do it live. Appreciate you all.